What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Javier and this is Fast TV. So guys, today it's actually just Sunday weekend, trying to get caught up on some things. Actually gonna work on my CRX. That's my little CRX right there. Had that thing since like 2000 and I have really neglected the car. It's always been an outside car. I never garage kept it. So the paint's definitely take a beating, but I gotta say, at least the last 15 plus years, all I've done is beat the hell out of the car with zero maintenance, zero taking care of things. Just something goes wrong, I splice it and keep going. So today I'm actually gonna take the time and work on the car a little bit. One of the things was I killed the alternator on it. So I replaced the alternator last night and I was still having problems and couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting a charge. I thought maybe I have an ELD issue or something like that. It's an electronic load detection problem. It's very common for these older Hondas. But no, my issue was the damn power wire coming from the alternator. I completely forgot that way back in the Wayback Machine, I had extended the wire out. And I'll just see if I can find the piece where I put it. It is super crunchy, super corroded where the connector was. I guess humidity throughout this was, I don't know, 15 years ago, I extended this wire. The seal that was around it was basically just gone and brittle from heat, just disintegrated. So guys, you know, if you got an old car, you worked on it, I did so-and-so 15 plus years ago. These are your gremlins. That dumb shit we did 15 years ago. So let's go ahead and, I went ahead and replaced the wire, brand new wire from the alternator over to the fuse box. And now the alternator's working great. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. But like I said, once I got in there, I saw so many things that were wrong and just outdated and old. And I've been slowly buying a few things here and there for the car. I think today's the day I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade my engine harness. With these older Hondas, the wiring harness starts getting that nice green moldy crap inside the wiring, and that creates resistance, and you start having all kinds of check engine lights and throttle burps and things that are just, the car's doing weird shit and it shouldn't be. We're gonna go ahead and rectify that. So a couple years ago, I knew I had to do this. So a couple years ago, I decided to buy an engine harness for it because they were on special way back in the day. And I got it actually from Wireworks. This was their budget-friendly wire harness for a B series, and I don't know what they're going for now. I believe, actually, when I say a few years back, I think I bought this pre-pandemic, but I only paid about $375 or $350 for the harness, which is a great deal, and it's very nice. Let me go ahead and put it on top of the hood here. You can kind of take a better look at it. They're right straight to the ECU, and then our C134 plug style, which the only difference would be it's made for HF on this side here, and then of course your additional leads that would go for like if you have electronic speed sensor, you will hook that up. On these are normally mechanical for the HFs, but I got a 2000 SI gauge cluster in here that I put in there, and so it looks pretty cool, gives me higher RPM, all that, and electronic speedo. I got rid of the cable. But yeah, hopefully this won't be too long. I'm just gonna film as I do a couple things, see what happens. I might not put the whole harness today. The ECU that I have, it has an old school Honda S100 on here. I no longer have the cable that is required to do any changes to the tune, to talk to that software, to a S100. I did have a couple S300s here, but I actually sold them all. So I'm not gonna be upgrading to S300 today. So I'll stick with the S100. There's one thing I know I have to rewire, and it's because of the map sensor that I currently use. When I say old school, I'm very old school. I got a GM 3-bar map sensor hooked up on this car still that I put in 2003 or 2003. First time I did the twin charge setup on this car, which I haven't talked too much about it, but this used to be twin charge, turbo and supercharged single cam. It was a crazy thing back in the day. It was fun. Anyway, so I'm gonna have to probably rewire that because I have no way to retune the ECU, and I don't want to put a stock ECU in here. Although I could if I change my injectors, but I have 440 injectors on there. I don't feel like taking the fuel rail off today and finding new O-rings and everything else, and we'll see. Right now I'm gonna try to reuse everything I have, and it's just 3 wires and make it easier to hook up that GM 3-bar. All right, so let me just shut up and I'll let the video roll. This guy here is just a B20Z that came out of a 2000 CRE. I picked up in 2006. I picked up the motor, something like that. It had like 62,000 miles on it when I pulled it. It's a US motor, and haven't done nothing to it. I just put a GSR transmission on it, which had similar mileage at the time, and it's been that same stock clutch. I honestly don't remember how many miles I put in this thing since then, because I've driven the car cross country a couple times, and even into Mexico. I got a couple pictures somewhere. I'll try to find it and put it on there. My buddy Keith Thrasher went in and took some pictures while we were rolling, and Umberto, buddy of ours out in California, he got some killer roll shots of my car while driving through Mexico. So like I said, if I find them, I'll put them in here. Like, just look at it. Pretty cool pics. That's way before the paint completely took a shit, and you know. But anyway, let's get to work. We definitely don't want to lose those clips, because these guys, for some reason nowadays, are kind of up to, like, unobtainium. Get hard to find, but yeah, we'll just put those clips back on there. Don't want to lose them. So you go to the store and you can get them. You have to wait for them. Can't get them same day, so it's just annoying if you lose it. Push those guys over. Like that. Opens right up. Try to push it back in place. And we're good there. I could unbolt it, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to bend it up a little bit. That's undone there. Now, these injectors are resisted, which is another big thing I just forgot about. They are old school 440 injectors. So I would still have to maintain my injector resistor box with it. That is mounted right here for now. I relocated the other day, so I didn't like where I had it last time. So if I use the current aftermarket harness, I bought it for different injectors. I completely forgot about that. So if I want to run the car, I'm gonna have to repin the end of the injector to connect to my resistor box right here. So I might still do that. I might repin the box. I have I have a newer style box. I just thought about that. I have one off of a Prelude and an Accord, which has a different plug. Instead of this green one here, it has the gray one, which is very similar to the 9295 plug. You know what? Let's go ahead and visit that now. Let's take a look before I go any farther. All right, well, good thing I looked, because I wasn't paying attention. I forgot, like I said, it's been a couple years since I ordered this harness, and the plan was to get rid of the resisted injectors and go with a non-resisted injector. So, that being said, I don't even have the pigtail at the end, because this is more of like a wire tuck style setup, so it doesn't have the option for a resistor on it. I had eliminated that. In fact, it's all plumbed in here near the ECU, where it all ties in together, along with grounds and everything else there. So I would probably have to change my injectors if I'm going to put this harness in today. So I don't know if I want to do that. I really don't feel like changing any of that today. I think I have another stock P75 ECU there that'll run the engine, OBD1, and get rid of my little jumper harness that I made inside for OBD0, OBD1. But shit, I don't know. Let me see. Let me start looking at stuff. See what let me go look through the garage, see what I have for parts. Make sure I have a good set of injectors too, because that'll really piss me off if I put a set of injectors in their shit. So that might be something I have to do first, just to make sure they're all good. We'll see. Let me go look for parts. I'll be right back. All right, well, I think I might have got lucky and I found some injectors laying around. I know I had a set of stock OBD1 injectors. I actually found a set of OBD2 ones, which I could technically use if the pigtail was correct. And I'll show you the pigtail on these OBD2 injectors are not the same as the OBD1. I could probably do some shaving and make them work. I'm undecided. So first thing I'm gonna do is actually make sure that they ohm out okay. On average, I like to see anywhere between 12 to 16 ohms on OBD1, OBD2 injectors. Your high impedance stuff, which is what I have in the car right now, the resisted type, those are going to be anywhere from 2 to 3 ohms. 4 is like pushing it. But yeah, so remember, the higher the ohm, the lower the impedance, means that's the less resistance, so it doesn't need a resistor box. So yeah, to run the OBD1 ECU, you need the low impedance, non-resistor needed injectors. So like I said, I got a set here. I got my trusty rusty Harbor Freight piece of shit voltmeter that I use for stuff here, so I'm not going to use my Fluke. Leave that for work stuff, other work stuff. I got it set to ohms, and first I'm going to go ahead and check these OBD2 ones just to make sure they're okay. Well, at least that they ohm out properly. Just hit both terminals. It'd be nice if you guys can see too. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. There we go. Everybody can see now. All right, I think. Hopefully the camera shows it. Here we go. So let's go ahead and check impedance on these. These are my OBD2 injectors, and they are coming up right at 12 ohms on that one. This guy is at 12 ohms on that one. $12 steady on that one. Yep. And make sure I got a good connection there. Holding steady at 12. That's one thing you want to make sure it's steady. It's not jumping all over the place. So we're holding 12 steady on there, as long as I can keep my shaky hand steady. Now let's check these OBD1s that I had on my old school Victor X manifold laying around. See where they jump at. Okay. A little more than I like. I prefer to be in the 12s. Let's check the other one here. See where it's at. Come on. 10. 10. And 10. That's strange. Normally I get them around 12 and higher. 10 seems a little low for what I'd like to use them. There are some out there that they do start usually at 10. I mean, it's not 2 or 3, so that's good. It doesn't have to have a resistor. The only problem is at 10, my old injector driver on the ECU might fight a little bit more for these guys. Maybe, possibly, we'll see. You know what? I think I'm going to tempt fate and use these OBD1s only because the connector, they won't fit these OBD2 ones, but they clip right into my OBD1s. And the same connector that's on the harness, so I guess my little 10 ohms are going to work. Went and got those off the manifold already. They are a little dirty. The pin itself inside the injector looks great. It's just the bosses sitting in there, and the rails were a little dirty. So I'm actually gonna just clean them off real quick. I got a little bit of brake clean. Just hit the ends real quick, wipe them down, get them ready to put in. Let's see. Let's go ahead and disconnect this fuel rail, my OEM fuel rail. Get those injectors out of there. Got 3 little bolts on the back, 10 mils. We're gonna loosen those up. There are some spacers back there, and also I am gonna reuse my original fuel rail. Little fuel pressure left on that rail. That's okay. I'll clean all this up. Only reason I'm moving that is I forgot to loosen this little clip here for the fuel return. Just gonna pull it out. There is an O-ring under here. You do not want to lose that O-ring, guys. You will hate your life. See that guy right there? Do not lose it. All right, now we can undo number 3, and then I'll just put the rail back. There we go. Then we can grab the rail, Slowly pull up on it. I forget a bolt. 1, 2, 3. Nope. It's just in there good. There we go. Alright. There's my big boy injectors. Whew. Suckers are under good. They haven't been removed in, God, I forgot how many years. It's been on 15 plus years. These are big 440. They're actually not DSMs, although they did look like DSM injectors. These are the this type, and they have an extreme, let me rephrase that. They have a really good stream, fuel stream that comes out of them. Fuck. You can see the O-ring is damaged right there. That's okay, we're not putting these back in today. Alright, I did remove the seats off that VictorX manifold, and we're going to be putting them on this stock manifold here for stock injectors. The reason being is the seats that were used for those 440s, those were modified seats that came with the injectors, and if I try to put these stock injectors in there with those seats, all it's going to do is leak like crazy. So don't want to do that. Double check my O-rings. They do look pretty good. I already checked on these guys. No tears. Let's see how they fit on this early model rail. Should go right on without fighting me too much. And be very gentle. Don't fight them. Just kind of let them do their thing so they can seat properly for you guys. If you have any lube, the best thing you can do is actually put some lube on it. And I just remembered I do have some lube. So, to not teach anybody wrong, I'm going to go ahead and do it the right way. If for some reason you do not have the lube for the injectors, you got kids or anything like that, petroleum jelly, a little bit of this will go a long way. Just got to lube up the O-rings. It's petroleum based, so it won't damage anything. It's not going to damage the O-rings. Might have to do some editing. My battery died there, but a little bit of lube on the O-ring. Right in. Didn't even have to fight it like before. You know, when you're working with these old parts, shit tends to leak and leak out on you. So yeah, look at that, pretty. You could also do the same thing on your base O-rings here. Just a little lube on each end, just to get a nice tight seal. These are old guys. These get old and they start shrinking on you and do all kinds of weird stuff, and you start chasing vacuum leaks. Why is my car not idling right? Something as simple as an O-ring or a base mount O-ring. All right, go ahead and line these up here. I don't have to line them up right off the bat, they will move, but I want to make sure. There we go. And they are in there. Now I'll go ahead and put my fuel rail bolts back in, or screws, nuts. You know, I got some big hands, so I apologize if I cover stuff up in the camera, because I'm just going at it, not really looking. And like I said, I got big paws. I might cover up the camera sometimes, so I apologize for that. I'll try to fix it in editing if I can, but here's what it is. All right, we'll start with the middle bolt. Tighten that guy down by hand as best as you possibly can. Work your way to the outside. Tighten it down by hand, then to the inside, tighten down by hand. Once you got that done, you can go ahead and tighten that guy down. You don't have to hoss on it. It is not nothing crazy, and that's why there is a stopper here, keep it from going any farther down. But these things don't take much, like 12 pounds, 15 pounds, if that, max. Probably not even 10 pounds. So just to get them snug in there, get them kind of tight. Not till you can't move them anymore. At that point, you'll break the studs off. That's it. If you feel the injectors, you can see you got movement, but they are tight. If you move them and one of them is super soft and turns it real easy, Make sure that the bolt, according to what side you're working on, is tight. Tighten it down some more, double check your spacer, make sure you don't have too big of a spacer. You just want them to where you have a little bit of movement, but you can move them, but it's hard to move. That way you know you have the right ones. We're gonna put our fuel pressure regulator back on, and like I said, it's old, a little brittle. I'm gonna put a little bit of that petroleum jelly on this older O-ring, just like so, just to give it a little extra life. And then we'll put the little 10 mils back on. Same, these don't have to be hossed down, they just gotta be tight. See, you hear that? That's more than enough, and that's me barely putting any pressure on. It's like 10 pounds. All right, let me move the camera around. We're gonna go ahead and get rid of these resistor box. She is no longer gonna be required. That's gonna go away. Same thing with this body connector. This is gonna end up going away. Where's my, should be a clip, there it is. There she is. I'm gonna move that guy over to the side. I believe this was a little 10 mil also. And if you haven't learned, guys, 10 millimeter basically disassemble a Honda. Oh, I just realized something. This is not a fresh engine without hoses and all that. You got hoses that are in the way. So I shouldn't have put the engine bay or the harness into the firewall first, because I should start from the side, my farthest side away. So what I did is I went ahead and pulled the harness back out. I'm gonna start tucking it underneath the manifold, straight through to the firewall. That way all my connectors, my farthest one, everything how I want to tuck it, will lay there. Could I have done it the other way and just moved everything? Sure. Didn't feel like moving my fuel lines and coolant lines out of the way because I ran some stuff on top or the bottom. So we're just gonna feed it from the farthest end all the way up to the front and then work my way through. And let's see if the camera will hold. And maybe y'all can see a little bit what I got going on here. Let's see. That's going through the firewall. So we're gonna push that all the way through underneath the intake manifold. Back to the other side. Around my coolant lines for the heater core, if I had it hooked up. All around my fuel lines. Everything else. Right up to where it's going to be going to, and try to tuck all my pigtails where I want them to be at. Where's she at? Come on. Come on, buddy. All right. Got her. All right, I'm going to plug the alternator in. Okay, alternator's on. I'm going to hook up my oil pressure switch next. There it is. Then I'm going to leave a knock sensor hanging because I don't have a knock sensor in this motor, but it will be used later in the future. All right, you see it right there, alternator. We'll move the camera, get you somewhere else here. Try to get some good footage. Ooh, this camera hot. Got that going through there. All right, well, sorry, my camera gets overheating. I got in the sun, so it shuts off. Damn GoPro things. Anyway, what I guess is a good thing. In the middle of getting everything run through and run the injectors, I started looking. I was like, really thinking about it. I don't want to change my tune. I want to keep that S100 in there. Problem is, I have no way to change the injectors or the injector profile, anything like that, for that harness. So I said, screw it. I'm going to put a resistor box back in. Put the original injectors back in. So I went ahead and spliced my brand new harness. I added a pigtail here for the resistor box. I'll hide it inside. All right, guys. So battery kept overheating on the sun. Anyway, as I was putting the harness on for the injectors, I really started thinking about it. I want to run my original injectors. Sorry for the traffic. And run my original tune. So I'm gonna put the injectors back in, and I'm gonna add the resistor box back in. But instead of being at the end of the harness where you see it, it's it's going to be tucked away under the dash where the ECU is going to be. I went ahead and already spliced in where my resistor box is going to be tied into. I just followed my pinouts where they needed to be, where the collector was for hot. These are the 4 out to the injectors here, and then the 1 back in for my 12 volt that'll go to the resistor box. And yeah, it'll be hidden with the rest of the ECU and then my C134 plug, and it'll be hidden away. You'll never see it. But took the old injectors off and I'm about to put my original injectors back on. That being said, I do have to pin my map sensor and use the map, my original 3-bar map sensor, old school one that I had. And I'll double check, because if I remember correctly, it takes it from the firewall in the SI, so it's not part of the harness. So I'll have to jump that into the new harness. But trying to save a little bit of battery, guys. I'm gonna get some more work done, unfortunately, and then I'll come right back. 3 hours later. Well, as you can see, the sun has gone down on me. I don't even remember where I left off on the video. I was having some issues earlier, so I decided I want to go back to the 440 injectors that I already had. So I put those guys back on there, plugged up the harness. I'm gonna use my light here so we can see what we got going on. So I don't know if you can tell, but it does look a little bit cleaner than what it previously was sitting there. I still got to put the master cylinder back on. Of course, I got to start the car, make sure it starts. But my biggest issue that I had was making sure I could route everything down here. Since I went back to the 440 injectors, I'd have to keep my stock ECU and map sensor, also the resistor box. I'm not sure if I showed that earlier. I'll have to look in the video and see. But yeah, I was able to hide it. Makes it a little cleaner. That wire, I'll just tuck away that plug. But it does look a little bit cleaner now. Everything's going right through that bottom center right there, including the new power wire. Now, under the dash is a whole different story, because remember I told you before I had all kinds of stuff I made back in before there was harnesses. You had to make your own, not actually separate an ECU, break it up, take the pins off the board, desolder them, and then make my own jumper that way. And that's exactly what I did for OBD0 to OBD1. And of course, 2 years later, somebody came out with OBD0 OBD1 jumper. They still ain't worth the shit, but I made one a long time ago. I want to be one of the first. So now we can see the cluster of wiring down here. And like I said, this was part of that jumper that I ended up making and converted from OBD0 to OBD1. And I actually used a piece of it right now for my fuel pump relay. But I was able to plug straight in to my Honda ECU. So, and like I said before, all I did was splice in my resistor box in here instead of having over there. So it's actually not too bad. When I get ready to upgrade my injectors for the new engine, I'm actually going to be using a set of 850s, or no, I'm sorry. I'm using a set of 1100cc injectors, and they are the 12 ohm injectors. At that point, all I have to do is unplug that and plug a blank in there that just connects all the wires together, so there's no cutting, no splicing. Although you saw a little bit of electrical tape on there, I actually crimped those guys on there, so I'll make sure I got good connection. Well, let's see if it starts. It got dark on me. I need to hurry up, pack it up, and get it ready, because I gotta work in the morning. And like I said before, I got that SI gauge cluster on here. All right, let's see if it starts. Fans kicked on. Well guys, it's alive. I need to go ahead and put the master cylinder back on and then go take a test drive real quick, make sure everything's okay. I did find a small water leak. Coming off the idler control valve. Just an old hose. They're old and brittle and getting nasty. I need to go through and change everything out eventually, but for now, it's a very minor leak. This thing will basically run empty. I've done it before. It's a good engine. It takes a beating, and I definitely put it through its paces. So guys, I will probably add more to this video once I clean this up here. The harness is in, the car started. I got to do some cleanup inside. I'm gonna have to leave that for another day, another weekend. We'll see. Daylight is not my friend. Usually by the time I get home from my adventures at work, the sun is gone. I usually don't see the sun when I get up, and I don't see it when it goes away. And then come home and do more stuff and editing and whatnot. So guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out with me through this little unscheduled adventure that I had. But hey, it is what it is. I wanted to start driving the car a little bit more. Actually, my Chevy truck beater truck took a shit, so transmission is done, and I'm not gonna mess with it. But yeah, guys, thank you for joining me in this little adventure I just put together today. I'll add more. I'll add another quick clip when I get ready to clean the under the dash. For now, it starts, it runs. I'm gonna go give a test drive. I might film it, might not, who knows. And of course, as usual, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me if you like the stuff that I'm doing. Of course, you know, I got this. I cover a lot of local events. The NSX project that we're working on, just a little bit of everything, hopping all over the place, but trying to get it done. Also, leave me a comment. Tell me if you like stuff like this. You like me working on my own crap and fixing it and getting it so I can drive it and use it and enjoy it again. Do you prefer just event stuff? Do you prefer just outdoor stuff? I'm kind of doing a little bit of outdoor stuff, but not, I'm saving that for something special. Yeah, what do you guys like? What do you see that I do that you enjoy? Is it me shutting up and just showing you what we got going on? You tell me what you like, guys. Leave a comment below. I'd really appreciate it. It's gonna help me gauge my audience and know what you guys want to see. Other than that, that's all I got for tonight. I appreciate you, and have a good night.